All right, Maximus Analysis here for August 11th, 2015, and we see that they broke down pretty well, got back under the 2080 area, and held this little 200-day moving average. Again, I'm not a big moving average person, but I figure I put it on here because it's, been discussed a lot. So again, we'll see what happens overnight. They need to get above 2092, 2105, and 2115. 2115 would be my, okay, now you're back in business, and I would see where it goes. Again, the market's been very choppy, but we've said numerous times to kind of let price tell you more than one time. And this is the reason why, because a lot of people were, these are futures. So again, there was a huge gap down for a lot of people, and we see a couple names that were actually broken. We'll see if they continue and break this low. Again, this low is 2070, 75, and again, they did tap a sell signal for the daily, but we'll see how it continues. Again, we have the YM, which has some names that got beat up today, and again, this one looks really like it could definitely flush down. It got a retested 200, and then they, pretty much might have wiped a lot of people out because yesterday it just ran it up. And again, if it continues to the downside, it's definitely hurting. This means that it's about 10, basically 2 weeks under the 200-day moving average as well. You had the NQ. Gave another huge sell signal, ended up was going to be a really big engulfing candle, and end up giving a little bit back, but it's still basically engulfing. So you got a break of this low, and it looks like it could be a downside for that one. IWM, same thing. This one hasn't been healthy for a little while, under the 200-day moving average. So we'll see if they continue to the downside after this, a break of today's low tomorrow, if that happens. Apple bipolar, really, really rough day for some Apple guys, because again, there was a lot of people that got in at the close, got gapped, probably trying to add, and they got the shit beat out of it today. Down about $5. So again, I would stay away from this one on the long side, because again, they break this and you have your stop about this 121. I mean, that's a big stop for $400 stop. It's about 10% stop, but if you can risk it, you'd put your stop back above here, and it could continue for some downtime, or maybe even look at a higher time frame, or a lower time frame, to get in per se. They beat up Baidu as well, like one gap down, and it looks like it continues to the downside. Google, they chucked in the air, and overnight, based on some infrastructure changes that they had, but again, I would not short Google because it's just not in the position. It's not in the downtrend. Price line looks okay. Again, it's still above these previous lows, so there's nothing bad about that. You had Netflix. Netflix actually looked good today, so we'll see how this one plays itself out. Facebook also looks good, still holding this pivot, this bull pivot of 92, so that's not a bad thing. And you had a price line that looks like it could be continuing for this. Looks like if it breaks this low, it could continue for some more downside. We'll see where this thing opens and goes from there. But this is not a good pattern that you would like to see. So we'll see what happens again with this one. But it could mean some more downside potential if it breaks down below this low. What else did we look at? We looked at Baba yesterday. That one continued again, downtrend. Stay with the downtrend. There's nothing to see here. Goldman Sachs actually doesn't look good either. So let's kind of take this away. And you can see that it's basically breaking this little base right here. And again, this is the reason why I like just having the price. I don't really like using moving averages, because I wouldn't want there to be 8 or 10 or 50 or 15 or 5. That stuff will, I like to keep it simple. It's just as simple as price and volume and price action. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to say, shit, it's over the 50, but it's under the 9. What do I do? I don't know. But then when it goes down, you're like, shit, all right, now it's under the 9. Do I short? And then they pop it up 2 bars and people get stopped out. So that's the reason why I don't use that. Again, let's look at IBM. IBM is still looking weak. Crude went to basically all-time, well, not all-time lows. I think it's the lowest it's been in 6 years. And it was down. Again, I took the short to this morning. I didn't get all of it, so I kind of was a little pissed off at myself. But you could see here again, I did a video back in February, and let's just look at the weekly. It's just in a downtrend. Just let it be, dude. Just let it be. Because it looks like it's going to be going to 37 to 43. And if you didn't think that could happen, guess what? When it was at 60 and I was saying this thing could break 50, I was, people were out there talking about this is the buy of the year. Trade the trend. Just trade the trend. I'm not here to say you were right or wrong. I'm just saying if you trade the trend, the probabilities will most likely be in your favor. A lot of people took buys of Disney because of this hammer. And again, if Disney's going to bottom, I don't think it's going to bottom in 1 or 2 days. So it's just this 1-2 day pullback, and it's more downside. I mean, yes, it's a huge amount of volume to say I'm going to short some more, but shit, it's broken. It's broken. So just don't fight that one at all. I mean, in Amazon. Oops, sorry. Let me go right here. Amazon continuing sideways, but it does that. It's weird as it sounds. Look at you could just take all this price action, say shit, here you go, sideways, then moves, and looks like it's setting up for more sideways. It doesn't give you much. I mean, it gives you huge pops, but it just recently just seems like just a bunch of stairs. And again, this is like a breakout trader's wet dream, but it's just hard to be chasing this little sideways range and then pop up, and I just don't like that. So again, we'll see what happens and see if it holds this area right here. So this little area right here, we're going to see if they actually hold that. Okay. I'm not looking at for any longs. Again, I told you the reason why. And again, if I'm late to the party, if they just shoot that shit right back up, which they've done before, it looks like that. There's probably many times that it looked like that, but not after such a long time. And they break this 200. They're back below the 2080 area already, which if you've been watching my videos, you've been hearing me talk about that for months. Now they'll be breaking the 200 plus that. So again, we'll see how this looks, and maybe look at a SPY trade, or even just holding some of the futures overnight, because you just don't get the gaps. So that's the reason why I like trading futures on the daily as well, is because I don't have to worry about the gaps in the morning. If it stops me out at 3 a.m. Eastern time, then so be it. So take care, and we'll see how this continues tomorrow.